And continuing with the theme of futuristic settings and robots and shit, let's talk about this Terminator game that Leigh's been playing. I don't actually know. Isn't it Resistance? Terminator Resistance, right?
It is, yes.
Okay, Terminator Resistance. So this is a first-person shooter Terminator game that is weirdly out on PC in the United States, out on everything in Europe, but is going to be coming to console in the United States soon.
Yeah, December 10th, it'll be out on console.
Kind of a weird, must be some sort of weird licensing thing or something like that. I don't know. But Leigh, why don't you give us the lowdown on Terminator Resistance and why you've been enjoying it?
Oh, this is a weird one. We're back on the movie going thing, guys.
I know.
The last couple of weeks of movie
two
stuff.
back to back, and then we're gonna have another movie game, even though it's not technically based on a movie, but it wants to be.
Yeah. Ooh, steady on. Are we fans of Terminator?
Oh yeah, definitely.
As it were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's obviously two Terminators. There's kind of Terminator 1, Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And there's whatever they did after.
I'm a guilty pleasure Terminator 3. I know it's not a great movie, but I do enjoy watching that movie. But
what?
As a follow-up to Terminator 2, it's complete garbage. So.
What? I need to talk to Vauxhall HR. I can't work out these conditions. What are you talking about? Anyway, yeah, so obviously, I mean, I'd like to say it was Citizen Kane, but it's not. Some of my favourite movies are the Terminator movies, so I was predisposed to going into this.
Mm-hmm.
This, although there's just been a Terminator film, Dark Fate, this isn't attached to that at all. This is it's not kind of Terminator Dark Fate double tap road trip.
Yeah. Too bad.
Oh Jesus! This is kind of based very much before the first movie, and it does have elements of those first two movies. First one sci-fi horror.
So
second one's more action.
So when you say before the first movie, is this before the first movie modern times or before the first movie future?
Before. You just blow my mind there.
Well, yeah, we're talking about Terminator here.
Yeah, it's set. None of it makes sense if you think about it.
From what I've seen of the game, it takes place in the future. Like,
yes, it is. It's
Judgment Day has happened.
Kind of the stuff where you quite literally the places where you see in the first movie of Kyle Reese going through the resistance shelters and that.
Okay, so it's
set in that before they send the first Terminator off.
Okay.
To go back or. The fifth Terminator.
So really it's post Judgment Day.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So
but pre Kyle Reese going back in time.
Yeah. It's not going to be a spoiler to tell you're sending up to send him back to stop the first Terminator.
Okay.
It's not really a spoiler. You might meet somebody called Shmona at some point in the game.
All right. You may or may not.
Terminator games have been very on and off. There's some that are awful. They've been going for years. There's some that are quite good, like the Bethesda ones in the 90s, like Skynet and stuff. I was excited when I first heard this. This was supposed to come out way back in 2013 called Terminators. But it was made by, this is the important thing.
Yeah, this is the very important thing.
Also, Teon, who also made probably the most meme game we've had in a long time, which was the Rambo video game. Which was this appalling, atrocious kind of on rails, really low, but really shoddily low budget thing. Did you ever play it? Did you ever see it? You must have seen it.
I've seen it. I've seen a playthrough of it, and it's horrible.
Yes,
it's on rails, like you said, and it's not even a very good on rail shooter, and the the way that they handle the like themes of Rambo are really bad.
Shoddy. A terrible phoning game. So yeah, that came out and it kind of had it shit all over the floor and nobody mopped it up. And the Terminator game they had, which was called then Terminators, went quiet. And
I wonder
nobody
why.
heard nothing about it since then until September this year. So that's kind of a massive gap. And as much as I was saying a couple of weeks ago, the best way to do these sort of things is to kind of don't go on something that's coming out now, go on something that's pre-existing, and then you can build it on your own back. I was nervous about this. I was really nervous. I thought it was going to be absolutely terrible. I was
there's no reason
to hate it.
There's no reason why it shouldn't be terrible.
Yeah,
like when you add everything up, it should be like really horrible.
Yeah,
horrible.
I was expecting another version of that or a really cheap shooter. It's worth noting that this is not even a AA. This is definitely an indie game, so you go into it like that. But what I wasn't expecting going in was kind of a mix between Metro and Stalker. It's kind of there's a lot more to it than I thought there was ever going to be. It's kind of there's elements of stealth, elements of kind of that loot thing you have in a Metro or it's a semi-open world game. So kind of that sectored off map thing that's bigger than you expect it to be. Yeah, mixtures of kind of, and it's actually pretty good. It's not been received very well by.
So like, what are you doing in it? Like, walk me through, like, walk me through it. Like, what are you doing?
So
in this game?
You're kind of meeting up with the Resistance. You're a character called what's his name? Steady on. Jacob Rivers. So you're kind of motioning your way through the wasteland, and you end up meeting with people. It's a little bit. It's hard to explain what the plot is without spoiling it, but essentially, it's quite an intricate plot that you kind of motion through on missions that you will eventually get to
make sense within the context of what we already know of the Terminator story.
Very, very much so.
Okay.
As much as I'll talk about this in a bit, I have problems with maybe dialogue, actual kind of one-to-one dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the voice acting; it's absolutely horrible.
Boy, but no shit. But the actual lore and the thing in between that and the way they tell the story, it's actually really, really very good kind of through-line plot that I don't really want to spoil. You will eventually get to the point where you meet a John Connor and you send somebody off. That's no secret to that. But the actual going in the building of the thing, they obviously have a love and a passion, a serious passion for this world. It's a very good fan service game. You will see things within it though that kind of betray the fact it's taken a long time to get here. Have you seen a lot of the footage? Yeah, sometimes it looks really good.
I've seen the opening parts of the game, which happens to be kind of front loaded with the atrocious voice acting, but outside of that, it seemed like it was a okay first person shooter, and like you said, had the stealth stuff, and then kind of like ended up opening up and kind of giving you the option of where you wanted to go after that, without necessarily saying you have to go here, which was, I think, something that nobody was expecting.
No, it's a lot more open than I ever thought it was. And I do that thing where I go into an area where I treat it like a Fallout, where I'll go and loot everything. It's worth looting everything in here because you get things. It's not just crafting stuff, it's things you get to actually modify your guns and stuff like that. So it's essential chips you get from dropped robots and stuff like that.
Yeah, so kind of like what Metro Exodus was this year.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you were finding the mods and stuff.
So there are times when it looks really atmospheric and the lighting is great and it's got a good sense of where you're kind of in these kind of desolate kind of future war type places, and the lighting is great and the atmosphere is great and the things going over your head and it's good. And then sometimes there's times when you stop and you talk to the characters in these hub type things, and it feels like that's where they started making this game, and it looks quite old.
Yeah.
They look a little bit. The characters look a little bit like Fallout NPCs in a weird way.
They look just very like dead and lifeless in their face.
Yeah.
Like they blink, but that's about all they do in terms of like symbolizing that they're alive.
As I said, Fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's certain areas that look like maybe they was at the start of when they started doing this game, and a lot of it has changed since then. Because there's a quite a variation of kind of production value in there. But when the production value is good, it's great. It's genuinely is quite good. The Terminators look quite threatening. It's good, like kind of spectacular, kind of explosion-y type stuff. The sound is really good. It's good because you got the atmosphere of it all kicking in, all the lasers and the thing going over your head. The shooting is really solid. It feels punchy. It feels impactful. It's kind of loud and chunky. There are problems with it though. There's 4 difficulty levels, and this is the thing where kind of there's a little variation of what people have thought about it, because if you play anything but the extreme level, it's kind of almost insultingly easy.
Okay.
And you could probably finish it in 5 hours, and you can romp through with your pulse rifles with a 41 range. And you could just take everything out, and you would probably be done in about 5 hours. If you slap it up to the most extreme difficulty, you're going to get monstered by Terminators, and you're in trouble. So it actually does have that challenge that you want, and it does expand it. It does make you want to take your time. It does make you want to use stealth more, and use the stealth kills on things. Whereas on the early levels, you can change it up literally as you're playing the game. So you can just literally snap a thing. I notice a difference straight away between me just running through, just killing everything without a second thought, and then it's like, oh no, I need to take my time now. Because when you don't have pulse rifles, and you're just stuck with your M16s or your Uzis or stuff like that, you don't want to be taken on Terminators, and it takes on almost like an alien isolation sort of, I need to hide from these damn things. Because if they catch you, you're done. And it is actually, I'm not puffing it up, it's genuinely tense. It's incredibly tense, the way they're passed and stuff like that.
Okay. So that's
there's some things you have to kind of give. It depends how you want to approach it, whether you give it goodwill, because you could say that the AI isn't very good, because a Terminator will come out of the thing and it'll just run towards you until you drop it, or just walk towards you until you drop it, which I guess seems it's up to you whether you think that's bad AI, or whether that's like a Terminator. Yeah, because that's what they do. They just keep marching forward. And when you're on an easy level,
that's 90% of what Arnold Schwarzenegger did in all of the movies.
Yeah, he just march forward.
Yeah. So that was one of the when you were talking about how it was tense with the Terminators. That's kind of like where when people talk about like, oh, which Terminator do you like better, Terminator or Terminator 2? And I'm like, well, they're kind of very two different movies.
Yeah, completely.
Where Terminator is more of like a horror movie where they're trying to run away from this menace, where in Terminator 2 is more of, is obviously the gigantic action movie that it was. So it's cool to know that they kind of take that into account and make the Terminators, at least on that higher difficulty, scarier than they are just like a big robot to shoot at.
Yeah, they can be. When you do have to double down, you can't use those weapons. It is literally a point, is because they're meant to be bullet sponges. You're not meant to be able to take them out with a machine gun. And you do really, and if they catch you, you're done. It's like it's not like Outlast, where if they catch you, you're done. You could probably try and kind of book it out the way, but if there's more Terminators on the other end of the corridor, you're screwed. It really works in those moments, and it kind of, if you're willing to role play this game, if you like the series as much as kind of a fan of these series do, you're willing to role play it and expect to play that and not just run through like a first person shooter, then you'll probably get a lot more out of it. It maybe is a little bit expensive on console. Now, I bought this on console, which is £50, which is $60. But for some reason, the PC version is 35, which I think probably be closer to 40. Yeah, which seems like a much
it's 40
better deal.
here. Yeah.
Now, I am, like I say, I'm playing it on extreme difficulty, so I'm about 10 hours in.
Okay.
And I've still got a little bit to go, I think.
Okay.
So there is some value to it. There's definitely more value for money as a PC game. But you do have to go into it with that caveat of kind of, it's an indie game, trying its hardest, and there are some questionable production values in it. But it's been a little bit of a dark horse. I'm actually really surprised by it. Considering the team that made it and the amount of time it's taken to get here and everything about the way they dropped the date, which is about a month ago, said this is going to be a disaster. It's a surprisingly kind of fan-pleasing, solid experience.
Yeah, I guess
it really is.
Eventually you just kind of have to put it out, right? even if they, they could have taken another year and maybe like redid all the voice acting and rewrote a lot of the dialogue and polished it up, but like eventually you have to put it out. So
the audience response to it's been really good, actually. It's kind of
the audience response does seem to have been good.
Because I remember we was talking not long ago. It's 7, but they have and it's gone quite up on the Metacritic and stuff like that. I think it's about 8.5 now, which is quite good for an audience reaction.
Yeah.
So,
and it's good. It's good. At least last I checked, mostly positive on Steam, which is the only way we can get it right now.
Yeah, but as I say, the problem is if you don't play it on the most hard level, you're not going to get as much out of it. You're going to go through it. Be probably a bit of a mistake to make all of the others that easy, because it really does kind of kill the game on anything apart from the most. And that's probably because the default, I think, is normal. And you're just going to storm through it and get nothing out of it. And it's going to be like, well, what was this? This was a waste of time. But this is good enough that I hope they kind of make another one, to be honest with you, with a bit of a bigger budget. I'd take another one of these. One of the more surprising games I've had this year.
Hopefully it does well.
I don't think it will.
So the big question that I have is the music there?
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of reprises the Brad Fidel. Yeah, it's got the da-da-da-da-da-da. It's got the da-da-da-da. It's also got the drones, kind of, that kind of when it's really kind of that. It's like it's not exactly the music, but it's reprises of it, and it's kind of mixtures of it, and it's all of the stuff that they've taken from the film, like the sound effects of the pulse rifles and stuff like that.
Like 100%. the weird sounds of the Terminator lasers.
The score is good. It doesn't sound like a knockoff, cheaper version of the score. There's a lot of the score in there. Yeah, there's.
When you level up, does it go da 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 da?
I wish it did, but it does every time you start the game. If that makes you happy. Just keep starting out.
I need it to be the level up noise. Maybe I can mod it.
Or is it actually? It might be,
I mean, come on, you
actually,
have
do you know
to,
what?
right?
I think it might be. Every time you get a skill point, I think it does.
All right, I'm in.
I was too busy being happy with it.
Yeah.
It's not going to change the world, this game, but
no.
It's definitely kind of a strong 7 if you're going to do the score thing, which helps people balance out what it is, because 7 out of 40 in oranges or whatever. But it's a good 7 out of 10 game.
Okay.
It's a surprising one. It's a genuinely surprising game.
Yeah, that'll be one that I maybe check out when it gets on a Steam sale or something like that.
Cool little indie.
Yeah. All right. So that was Terminator Resistance, which is a surprisingly decent game, defying all odds, supposedly.
Every single odd.
Yeah. I mean, just being a Terminator game and a Terminator anything in 2019 is to be decent. I guess that new movie's pretty good, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, that's Terminator Resistance. Like I said earlier, weird release schedule for that. It's out everywhere in Europe, but in the United States, it's only available on Steam right now, and will be coming to consoles in December, right, Derek? You said?
Yeah, on the 10th, I believe it is.
Okay. Are you interested in it at all?
Yeah, I was the one that like started talking about, it, and Lee's like, "Oh yeah, I think we have that already," and I was like, "What?"
Oh, yeah.
I think that's how we originally started talking about it.
Yeah, well, Leigh had mentioned in the last cast that he was looking forward to it. But I didn't realize it was a weird release schedule. Well, sounds like it kind of came out all of a sudden, so that probably had something to do with it too. Like maybe wasn't ready for distribution or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I would be surprised if this wasn't a European developer, right?
Tayon is Polish, and Reef Entertainment, which is the publisher, is British, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So maybe they just had better distribution in that region, and then they're getting it over here. I'm not really sure what the deal is on that. But yeah, Terminator Resistance.
Who knew?
Who knew, indeed. Thank you for joining us on this very special episode of Voxel Viewpoint. If you'd like to hear or see more, please consider subscribing to us on your favorite podcast app, subscribing to us on YouTube, or visiting voxelvoice.com, where all of our great content comes together in one place. Also check out the Voxel Voice Facebook group, where you can join in on the discussion with a great, like-minded community.